Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. After the fall of Absalom, a man by the name of Sheba rises up in rebellion against David. This is a man from the tribe of Benjamin, which is the same tribe from which King Saul came from. And Joab, the commander of David's army, goes out to pursue Sheba. And he basically gets him cornered in a town called Abel Beth Maacah. And there Sheba is in the city, and Joab is there and about to destroy the whole city for the sake of Sheba. But there's a wise woman who says, "Hey, if Sheba's the guy you're looking for, we'll cut off his head and throw his head over the wall, and you'll have the guy that you're looking for, and the whole city will be spared." And that's exactly what happens. And so this woman is seen as very wise because instead of the whole city being destroyed, she was able to get to the source of the problem and was able to resolve the issue and save all these people. Now, as we think about this in connection to the spiritual life, we can see that sometimes her wisdom could be used in our own lives. Oftentimes, we find our lives in turmoil. We find ourselves inundated with temptation and falling into sin time and time again. The enemy seems to have the upper hand in our lives. It almost seems like perhaps our whole spiritual life is going to be destroyed or disrupted because of it. And maybe it could be the case that maybe there's just a simple solution to what we think is a very complex problem. It might be that we need to throw Sheba's head over the wall, as we need to find the very reason why our spiritual lives are so disrupted. And it could be a lot of things. It could be, of course, perhaps some type of substance abuse like drugs or alcohol that's destroying our lives and threatens to destroy our lives. But it oftentimes really goes down to a desire, either a misplaced desire or an overgrown desire that we have in our lives that is basically just disrupting our whole spiritual life. And if we leave it unattended, it could cause a whole lot of damage. And so it's important for us to do what this woman did and say, what is really the problem here? What is the source of the problem? How can we resolve it? And how can we get this problem fixed so that everything isn't destroyed in the process? I think Jesus kind of speaks about something similar to this in Matthew chapter 18 and verse 8, where he says, "If your hand or your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it from you. It is better for you to enter life crippled or lame than to have 2 hands or feet and be cast into eternal fire." There Jesus says, cut off your hands, your feet. Of course, he's speaking metaphorically here. But he's saying, get rid of whatever it is that is the source of the problem that is leading you to stumble in entering into the kingdom. And it sounds very similar to the cutting off of Sheba's head and throwing it over the wall. In that, he's saying, cut off anything that is causing you to stumble, anything that's keeping you from flourishing in the spiritual life and entering into the kingdom, to stay more closely to the context here. But nonetheless, that's something that perhaps we need to consider sometimes. What is the source of my problem? What desire do we have that is disrupting our spiritual life? And whatever that desire is, whether it's a misplaced desire or just an overgrown desire, cut it off at the source and say, this desire, or maybe it might be something external, maybe it's some type of temptation, something that triggers temptation in our lives, whatever the case may be. We say, I'm going to do like the wise woman said, and I'm going to cut off the head of Sheba. I'm going to throw it over the wall. And when I do so, it's going to have positive effects in my life in that the problem will now be resolved and I'll be able to live a life of flourishing before God once again. So as we read about this story in 2 Samuel chapter 20 with this wise woman, let's be wise as well and try to find the source of the problem and deal with the source of the problem in our spiritual life so that it doesn't cause us to be disrupted or cause our spiritual life to be in chaos and be destroyed, but that we will be able to live a life more pleasing to the Lord and have our eyes fixed on Christ all the more and live a life of more devotion to Him. So these are the things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.